if it's becoming too much of a burden or a struggle, or you feel like, honestly, you just suck at it, delegate it out. Find somebody to do your social media for you.
I love bookkeeping.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for listening to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast. My name is Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
Today, we're going to be diving into something that we get a lot of questions about, and that is social media marketing. Whether you like it or not, social media is here to stay, and it is always changing, and it is ever evolving. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am the social media manager here at bookkeepers.com. I've been doing this for almost 5 years now. I've been with the company for almost 5 years. I've been doing social media marketing longer than that. And I have learned a lot, but there's a lot that I've learned by making mistakes, or I've learned on the way, or just learned by experience. So today is going to be the first of kind of a series on social media marketing. Today, I really just want to kind of umbrella what it is and the best way to utilize each platform. And then we will take a deep dive down the road on each platform and get more in depth on different mediums that you can use. Melissa, I'm going to have you, I want you to grill me. I want to hear your questions because I know you have a lot of questions about social media marketing.
I'm going to do it. I'm really excited to interview you today because for those of you that tuned into our last episode, I did delegate our social media as one of the first outsourced delegation items because social media is so strange to me. I cannot grasp it. It's constantly changing. I just don't understand it. And I know that it is not my strength. And I know from following bookkeepers.com social media, which is what I base a lot of my company's social media on because I love it so much, it's fantastic. So I know the brains behind their social media is Hannah. So can you just start and tell us first of all, what social media really is out there now? What needs to be on our radar? Because I feel like, man, it was all about Facebook and now nobody's on Facebook anymore. What social media really needs to be on a business's radar?
So that's such a loaded question. The top, when I think of social media, the top 5, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. Those are the 5. Those are the big 5 right now. Using all 5 for your business may not be necessary. You may not need to use all 5 forms of the big 5 for your social media because guess what? We don't. And the way I determine that is number 1, determine how important social media is to your business. And number 2, you need to determine where your audience resides and go there. I think that it takes some market research on your part to kind of look at your client base and look at where they hang out and do some research on, let's say your business, your client base is women who own salons that are ages 30 to 50. Where are they posting the most? Where are they looking the most? And I think that answer would probably be Instagram and TikTok. That's just an example. So I think one of the most important things when you're thinking about doing social media and when you're thinking about doing it yourself, you need to determine where your audience hangs out and you need to go there. That's rule number 1. That is the most important thing I say to business owners.
That is such an important recommendation because I know when I was trying to do it myself that I was in the wrong places because I just didn't know better. So I guess what is your biggest recommendation if you're going to try to do it yourself? Because I was doing it myself and I was doing it wrong.
So the first thing I would say is and I know in a past episode, we talked about delegation. First of all, decide if you want to do it yourself. If it's becoming too much of a burden or a struggle, or you feel like, honestly, you just suck at it, delegate it out. Find somebody to do your social media for you. And I'm going to circle back to that. But doing it yourself, just starting from the beginning, I would, just like I said, do your market research and determine your audience and where they hang out. You know, I think it's funny at the beginning you said, like, no one's on Facebook anymore. You better believe there are people on Facebook, because the Facebook ad market is I would say a multi-billion-dollar market. There is so much money out there on Facebook, and it's absolutely crazy. I know me personally, when I scroll through Facebook, I'll see something that I was like, I swear I just thought about that. How did you know? And that's a whole other debacle, but I digress. Facebook is very much a great tool for advertising, setting all political beliefs aside. I'm just going off of facts. But if you were doing it yourself in the beginning, determine your audience, find where they hang out, and then kind of do some market research. Find your client, and let's say their thing is Instagram. If you think that's where your clients hang out, who do they follow? What aesthetic do they like? Where do they hang out? And what are they looking for? Because ultimately, when you get on social media, you are looking for something, whether it be you're looking for a person, you're looking for information, you're looking for something aesthetically pleasing, you're looking for something inspiring. You're always seeking something when you get on social media. And when you do social media marketing, the biggest thing is to ask yourself is, am I answering what people are looking for? Number one, am I going to be the answer to what my client is looking for when they get on social media, whether it be Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram? How am I going to be the answer of what they are seeking out? So when you are starting your social media from the beginning, first, like I said, first things first, determine your audience and find out where they hang out. And by hang out, I mean what social media platforms they are utilizing the most. Let's say you're a bookkeeping business and you're serving salon owners. That's a visual business. And they're in the business of showing off something visual. So you're going to use more of a visual platform, and that's going to be Instagram, TikTok, maybe, and some Facebook as well, because people are still very much active on Facebook. But I would say your number one thing would be Instagram. And then once you kind of determine that, really do your market research. And by doing your market research, I mean, figure out your client and what they need. And by what they need, I mean, figure out, who do they follow? What aesthetic do they like? Where do they hang out, both physically and on the internet? And the biggest question is, what are they looking for? I think one of the most important components of social media is the fact that when you log on to any platform, you're looking for something. So the most important question that when you're starting up your social media is, when you log on to any social media platform, everyone is looking for something. You're either looking for information, you're looking for something aesthetically pleasing, you're looking to decompress, you're looking to laugh. You're always looking for something when you get on a social media platform. And I think the most important thing to keep in mind when you're producing content is to be the answer of what your client is looking for. And I think that's the most important question when you're starting is, how can I on social media be the answer to what my client is looking for? So by determining what they need and what they're seeking out, you can then kind of answer a question that they didn't know they were needing answered. So then after that, I would say, once you've kind of got that game plan in your mind, I would say determine the most important platforms for you. If you're overwhelmed with social media, I say pick two. Pick two and have them very strong. I think it's better to be super strong with less platforms than put out kind of mediocre, sporadic content on a bunch of different platforms. That's me personally. I know that some people say the more the merrier, but I personally think it's a more personal experience, and you're really producing more content that people want to see, and that people value when you kind of prioritize quality over quantity. Melissa, when you were kind of overwhelmed with social media in the beginning, what part of it overwhelmed you the most? Because I know that everybody has questions and pain points when it comes to this subject.
I did not listen to your genius advice that you just gave to pick two. And I was going with that, the more the merrier. And I was trying to do all of the things. And just hearing you say that it's okay to just pick two. I'd even say it's probably okay to just pick one and just do it really well. God, that would have been life-saving for me back then. Yeah. That is such great advice, Hannah.
Well, and I think I think a lot of the times people get overwhelmed with the content production and the strategic planning, and they don't really put a whole lot of thought into it. And I was guilty of that when I first started my career in social media marketing, really stressing the content and not doing the brainstorming. Who's our client? What do they want to hear? What do they want to see? What questions do they have that they need answered that they didn't know they needed answered? And that's what social media ultimately is. I mean, for example, you get on, I love TikTok. I get on TikTok and I'm scrolling through, and all of a sudden I see a hack for laundry or a recipe. I didn't know I needed that. I didn't know I wanted that. But now that I have it, I'm like, where did I live without this hack my entire life?
Okay.
Where have I been?
Okay. But what about those people like me who feel like maybe we're too old for TikTok? Like, what do you have to say to those of us that are like, I don't know. I don't know that I belong on TikTok.
That's fine. That's fine. If you don't belong on TikTok, if you feel like you're out of place on TikTok, if you're uncomfortable with anything, don't do it.
How can I get comfortable there? But what if I want to go there, but how do I even start? I guess that goes for any of the platforms. Yeah. If I'm just if I'm uncomfortable, because I'm always uncomfortable, where do I start?
So then I think that's a good place to circle back to your market research. And when you join a platform, you can select different subjects that you're interested in, and your algorithm will magically provide you with the content that you need. And you can, I think, you can find yourself inspired with different sounds and different, I'm losing the word I'm looking for, different methods of how people are utilizing a certain platform. On one end, I kind of want to reiterate when I said, then don't do it. On one end, I say, push your comfort zone and learn something new. But if you feel like your audience isn't there, that's okay. If, I think something like TikTok, it's new. It's definitely Gen Z filled. And truth be told, I think a lot of our customer base for bookkeepers.com, they're not on TikTok. I mean,
they're not, but for instance, in my case, bookkeeping for painters, that goes back to similarly to salons where it's very visual, and tons of my clients are on TikTok. So,
Yes.
It's one of those things where it's not some place that I go, but my clients go there. So maybe now I do.
So now now think about this. You've asked yourself the question, where do my clients hang out? And I think, so you serve painters, you serve the painting industry. Another thing that really drives your industry is reviews. And guess where people leave a lot of reviews? Facebook.
Oh man, you're right.
So then you've got that to think about as well.
See, this is why I hire someone brilliant like you to do social media. And I think my biggest question for you, like with getting started, and, this is me even thinking now, is for this social media marketing, do I go personal or business? When I'm creating a TikTok, is it my business's TikTok? Is my Facebook my personal Facebook page? Like, what social media etiquette is there? Like, do I accept friend requests from clients? Like, do I draw a line? What's the etiquette and the boundaries with this?
That could be a whole episode. Social media etiquette. So I say when you are creating something for your business, make it your business's page. You can say that you're behind the business. You could link your personal page to it if you want. The beauty of that is that when you have a business page, it's kind of at your discretion. If you're an extremely private person and you don't want to have your business associated with who you are, then you have the ability to not. You don't have to. But on the flip side, if you want people to know the method to the madness and see who's behind your business, then you can do that too. That's kind of one of those things that's at your discretion. And I don't even have like personal advice because everyone feels differently about their privacy and how much they want to put out in the world. And so I think that's completely up to you and your discretion. However, I will say personally, from experience, do not let clients friend you on Facebook. Due to the fact that most of the time, I have found that usually they want to talk shop with you on your personal page, and that's not for your personal page. So I say no to that just from personal experience. If a client has turned into a friend, then I think that's fine. But a lot of the times, I think if clients are trying to add you personally, it's usually not their vendetta usually isn't a personal one. And I think that's something that you have to keep in mind and you kind of have to aggressively defend.
Yes.
Today's show is brought to you by Keeper, the one app to run your bookkeeping business. Keeper helps you get faster client responses with your own custom branded QuickBooks integrated client portal. Finally, you can say goodbye to those pesky spreadsheets full of uncategorized transactions. Keeper also helps you catch those embarrassing coding errors before your clients do. And with Keeper, you can generate beautiful custom reports that your clients will absolutely love to read. To find out more, go to keeper.app. That's keeper.app. Mention I Love Bookkeeping to get 20% off your first 3 months. Again, go to keeper.app to find out more. Thank you for listening.
Aggressively defend your personal life with that work-life balance, because I have been in that instance, Hannah. And what you're going to find out if you add that client to your social media is that they are a psychopath. Okay. And you can't go back from that. Man, the personal experiences that I will not share on this podcast, but, there are a lot of really brilliant business owners that are wonderful to work with. And then you get on their personal Facebook and realize they are absolutely insane. You can't go back from that, right, guys. Tread carefully.
You can't. There's no backpedaling, because once you delete that person, it's like, wait, why did I get deleted off your page?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, usually you want to think that usually your clients have your best interests at heart or have a wholesome motive when they're adding you on Facebook. A lot of the times it's so that they can keep you closer to ask work questions. I absolutely do not do that. I'm one of those people that I'm like, when it's 5 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock. I'm done. Because we have lives to live. And I think it's important to have boundaries and to have your own personal life and to have things outside of work. And it's hard because social media has blurred the line, the 9 to 5, because now people can kind of have unlimited access to you and your business. And I think you need to look at it as 9 to 5. Your personal page it's the 5. Shut it down. That is not for work. Because you will just drive yourself crazy with clients blowing you up all day. And so
that is so true.
That's my advice.
I also want to advocate strongly against like a 9 to 3, like doing a 9 to 3 rather than a 9 to 5. But we will have an entire work-life balance series coming up in our next series. Yeah. I would love to circle back to, okay, so say I know who my audience is. I know where I need to be and I've made my plan. Like, how do I actually create the content? Because I feel like this is where I got tripped up. I am a creative, but I think it was to my detriment because I had so many ideas and I didn't know how to focus. Like, what do I do now?
Well, first of all, I think there's nothing wrong with finding inspiration on other pages. With that being said, don't copy, don't rip people off. But I don't think there's anything wrong with looking at other pages for inspiration and kind of motivation for the content that you want to put out. As far as creating content, whether you're creative or not, I just could shout from the rooftops how much I love Canva.com.
This episode is not sponsored by Canva, but it could be. This episode is
not sponsored by Canva. Canva, if you're listening.
It could be, guys, because I use Canva and I love it for everything.
I love Canva. I could sing their praises all day long because the good thing about it is that you can have blank templates where you can really be creative, or they have templates for you that you can kind of move things around and change the color and change the font and change the message. And so I really, really encourage, because I know it's overwhelming if you're new to social media, and it's really overwhelming when you've got like, oh, there's this app and this app and this website and Photoshop. And, I say just head to canva.com because I think that's kind of going to be your one-stop shop. I would invest in the pro.
Yes. I waited way too long to do that. It's worth it. What is it, like $12.99 a month or something?
It's like $10. It's the best, like $11.99 you'll ever spend. But head to Canva, first of all. And I think you can get some motivation and kind of inspiration from there too. And so once you've kind of played around with content that you like and content that you think your followers are looking for and that they would appreciate, create content that adds value and mix it up, which as a content creator and a social media manager, I will say this is a big job. I think a lot of people kind of downplay how much social media is involved. It's a big job. Creating a calendar or having to kind of, I know with me personally, we switch up our calendar a lot because we'll have promos or like we'll drop the podcast bag or something like that. But, have a variation of content that adds value to what your potential customer is looking for. Give tips, share useful information, have aesthetically pleasing images. Sometimes people just want to escape.
I know I do.
not have an infographic get thrown in their face sometimes. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Have something aesthetically pleasing. Ask for feedback in your content. Do giveaways. That's a great, even just a small giveaway. That's a great way to get traction and to really build your engagement and get people's attention. So did you have a question?
No, that is so true. We actually did one, and I felt really proud of myself because this was when I was DIYing my social media, and we just did a quick $10 Starbucks gift card giveaway. And it was just, they had to, submit photos of job sites because we were told, and this is another question I have for you, we were always getting made fun of by our clients for using stock images because they were like, your stock images they don't look like anything an actual painting site looks like. They would always I'd always get such comments like, that guy is holding the paintbrush wrong. That is a terrible stock image. Please remove it. So we asked people, submit your job sites that I can use on my website. You'll be entered in for a Starbucks gift card. And what happened was nobody did it because I didn't have a social media following, except for I think 2 clients did. So I ended up just giving 2 of my clients a Starbucks gift card. So it was like a win-win, right? It was a learning experience. But I think the giveaways is a great way. It doesn't have to be big. It could be a $5 Starbucks gift card. And it's some type of incentive to get what is it? When people are, I don't even know the terms, but when people are, commenting and liking and engagement. Yeah. I don't even know what engagement is, but I know you need it, right?
Yeah. Well, and when it comes to things like that, with social media, I think you ahead of time, you need to accept the fact that you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. And that's happened to us here at bookkeepers.com. We've had some things that we had awesome feedback. People just saved the heck out of it and so much great feedback. And then we get things that I absolutely get torn to shreds, and it happens. So it's just it's one of those things that you kind of have to be prepared for and just really not take it personally and just kind of give yourself some grace. You're going to have, it's just like any other thing. There's going to be good, there's going to be bad. And another thing with giveaways, kind of in conjunction, offering incentives for social media exclusively is a great way to build your following. And by that, I mean follow and you get a code for 5% off, or follow and be entered to win this, or this. We'll pick one of our followers for a free consult. Something like that, incentive, it can be such a low ticket item, and the incentive can really just drive your engagement straight up because, let's be honest, everybody wants a freebie. I want a freebie. When I'm on social media, if I see, for our followers, you get 20% off today and today only, I'm like, let me get my credit card. It's something that really works, offering incentive. And another thing that I have found that has really just kind of made people feel at home on your social media page is kind of using niche humor, which it can be hard to come by, I guess. There's not a whole lot of memes I have found on bookkeeping and accounting.
I'm going to make you some, Hannah.
Thank you so much. I need them. But when you do find that meme, it's like, oh my gosh, I can share this with my followers and people love it.
Yes.
So it's one of those things that when you kind of make people feel at home with their sense of humor and something that that they know only a select group of people will get, it kind of brings a sense of camaraderie with your page, and people kind of, they admire you more for making them feel welcome. So that's just one of those little tidbits that makes a big difference in people's emotions, that you didn't people probably don't think it makes a big difference, but it does.
Okay. So I don't care how many years I've been in business. I am and will always be a newbie when it comes to social media. So, what is your advice for like what not to do for people that are just getting started like me? Because I feel like I'm always just getting started with this. Like if you had to narrow it down, like what should I absolutely not do on social media?
That's a great question. First of all, don't copy other people's content. I think it's okay to reshare others' content, but don't make it your entire feed. Whether that's Instagram, Facebook, don't make your entire Twitter just a bunch of retweets. If you are doing a visual platform, keep it high quality visuals. I think it's important to utilize things like Canva to have high quality images and high quality stock images. And if you're not super creative with that, get inspiration on Pinterest or use a template on Canva. But you can definitely tell when you go to someone's page, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, you can tell when it's some content that wasn't really thoughtfully produced. And so I would say be really thoughtful with what you're putting out. And by thoughtful, I mean high quality. You really want it to be aesthetically pleasing, even if it's just an infographic. You want it to be easy to digest. You want it to be the color scheme of your business or an aesthetically pleasing color scheme. It really is so important to make things pretty and nice looking and something that people want to open their phone and look at, that kind of catches their eye. So I would say don't use anything that might be deemed kind of low quality. If you're on YouTube, invest in a camera and a microphone because you want people to be able to hear you clearly and see you clearly so that they can, because if they can't, they're not going to get past that and actually digest what you're putting out. Does that make sense? Like on any platform, if you're putting something out that's kind of low quality, people aren't going to be able to absorb the information or the image that you're putting out because they're going to be more focused on the kind of dodgy quality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that definitely does. Like if you're going to do it right for sure. And if you're not sure how to do it right, that's where I go back to delegate, man, because I feel like if it really is everything that you've said here is such great advice. It's so important. But at the end of the day, you could give advice all day, every day. And I don't know that I would still ever be the right person to do it myself.
Well, and then there you have another what not to do is if you are really struggling with this and you just feel like your social media isn't your forte, I think you can say that's okay. It's not for everybody. And there are so many different people out there that you can hire. I mean, there are things for all budgets. If you're just starting out, like you can go to your local college or school and find a marketing student or a graphic design student. You could look on Upwork. You could look on LinkedIn or Indeed to hire some contract work. On the more expensive end, there's agencies that you can use that'll produce a lot of content for you and put it out and like do all of the work. So there's kind of different things. I'm so sorry, my dog in the back. There's different ways you can go about it with different levels of what you need and different budgets. On the lower end, if you just need content, like, you have it in your head, but you just don't have the creative in you to do some graphic design, some light graphic design, hire a graphic design student on a contract basis. Look on Upwork, look on Indeed or LinkedIn. If you are really having trouble with the planning and the scheduling and really coming up with a social media calendar, and you really need more like an all-encompassing social media person, that's when I would say, okay, it's time to look for an agency or somebody that does this full time. Because at the end of the day, social media is important. It's here to stay. And I think that back to our episode on delegating, there's nothing wrong with delegating it. You just kind of have to ask yourself what you need to be delegated or what needs to be delegated.
That is great advice. To wrap this up, because this is definitely, I'm going to bring this back up throughout this season and next season and future seasons, because I have so many questions for Hannah. But what is your one piece of advice, like for newbies in our tips for newbies section? Like if you had to narrow down all of your vast knowledge in social media, what would be the one thing you want to really drill down?
Find where your audience is and go there.
I think it's as easy as that. I think that honestly is probably, it sounds simple, but I think it's so important. I fully agree with you. I think it's
the first step in anything.
Yeah.
So that's my final.
And it's going to circle back to why you should niche too, because it'd be easier to know that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We could circle back to lots of different things, but
lots of things. That's all intertwined.
All right. Well, if you guys have some social media questions, we would be happy to answer them in a future episode. So you can please email us at success@ilovebookkeeping.com. Again, that is success@ilovebookkeeping.com. And we would be happy to answer your questions in a future episode. My name's Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
And thank you for listening to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast.
I love bookkeeping. Here's a little shout to all my